Vikings talk. It's Purple Daily on Score North and ScoreNorth.com. Purple Daily, presented by Surly Brewing Company.
You can definitely get a feel for where guys are at mentally now, and then physically as well, as far as how certain skill sets will fit, offense, defense, guys' roles that they're currently comfortable with, and then, hey, how do we push these guys to understand within the competitions going on across the board, how they can thrive and really challenge themselves to really see what that will look like from a role standpoint in helping us win football games. So I think it's kind of the start. I told the team earlier this week, it's kind of the start of that process, but by no means, are we, checking boxes thinking that we're doing anything more than just beginning that process.
Welcome into Purple Daily. Happy Saturday. That was Vikings coach Kevin O'Connell. As the Vikings are underway with OTAs, they started this week. They will continue in the coming week. Phil Mackey off today, so it is Judd, it is Declan. Obviously, Purple Daily is always presented by our friends from Surly Brewing Company and also TCL TV. Enjoy more with TCL, and this being a Saturday on Purple Daily, Declan, means that it's comments from YouTube. Purple Daily reads the comments. You call it what you want, but you have taken the place of Phil, who's going to be back on Monday, by sifting through the comments from our fine listeners and viewers of this show, and we are now prepared to address them, critical or not, because this show is all about you, the fan. We embrace you. We never mock you.
A lot of backup quarterback comments and backup options for Kirk Cousins, behind Kirk Cousins for the Vikings in 2022. So let's start with this one from Nairobi, who says Kellen Mond is not only our number QB, is not only our number 2 QB, but he will be our number 1 quarterback following Killer Kirk. I predict he will be used in wildcat-like plays this year and will stand in for Kirk in a game and throw a deep touchdown pass to Justin Jefferson. In the future, we will get used to hearing Mond to Jefferson for a touchdown. You heard it here first. The name is Mond. Kellen Mond.
I have no idea if that's right, but I love that. And you know what? Because I suggested this last year, and the Vikings clearly never considered it. But I thought that they might have I thought they might have a small package of plays for Mond like that. Like not deep shots, but, just as far as because he's such a change-up to Kirk. And okay, if Kellen Mond, the starting quarterback of this team eventually, I don't know about that. Kellen Mond as the number 2 quarterback, while Kirk's friend Mannion assumes the 3rd QB role / assistant quarterbacks coach, I could sort of see. And I would not be adverse to a package of plays for Mond. Like, I love this. That would allow a huge changeup, right? Because, like, if you bring in a package of plays, he's going to be doing things very differently from Kirk. The defense is going to have to adjust quickly. I at least like the thought. Like, I have no idea if Mond's going to be good enough to pull it off. I have no idea if it's, in actuality, a good idea. But, Declan, again, our listeners and viewers, I love it because they're always like us, thinking about possibilities.
The idea of Kellen Mond being the wildcat quarterback is the exact illusion of complexity, right, that Kevin O'Connell wants to use.
It is.
And I feel like that wildcat quarterback kind of died off a little bit after it really took steam with Miami about 10, 15 years ago under the late Tony Sparano. And then it kind of last year had a little bit of a resurgence. Like the last few, I feel like it's coming back in different ways. It's not being used as directly the wildcat, but there's now plays being designed for other quarterbacks to come in and make weirder, wackier, different plays. And Kellen Mond might be a nice place to groove him in. They're clearly giving him his fair shake, as you saw at OTAs. So I don't hate the idea of him also being that wildcat quarterback for the Vikings in 2022.
Good suggestion. I like it.
Benjamin says, if Sean Mannion is the backup again in 2022, it's further proof that the Wilfs are working for Cousins and not vice versa.
Yeah, I mean, look, Sean Mannion, is there any reason, the more, and I've not until now given this much thought, but is there any compelling case for Mannion to actually be the backup now? Like,
no.
I think he's going to make the team. But I mean, so here was why I wanted him re-signed last year. Okay, Kellen Mond was a rookie. He was starting to go through practices, and basically what I said last year was this: I don't know that I want a guy who's raw. I think that's a fair term, don't you? I don't know that I want a guy that's raw because, like, you have to know how to operate, like, within the function of the offense, right? Like, take the hand off the ball. And that might sound stupid, but they were on Tuesday, Dex, literally working on handoffs. So my feeling at that time was, Mond is so raw that it might be premature to put much on his plate. Now, could you have developed a package of plays to install as the season progressed? Yeah. But I was very concerned week one if Kirk gets hurt, which to Kirk's credit, he does not. But if Kirk gets hurt, is this going to be a problem? A year into Mond, though, and now that Mond is going to get far more of a fair shake and has experience in practice, I mean, Mannion is literally, when he goes in, he knows what to do, but he can't do it. And so, yeah, I think Mannion makes the team. And I think that there's something to be said that he is solely on this team because of Kirk. But all of that being said, I think if Mond shows you anything, opening day, the depth chart, Cousins, Mond, Mannion.
One other backup quarterback option here from Daniel Ives, who says, cut both of them, as in Mannion and even Kellen Mond, and sign Nick Foles. Then Foles could help Cousins when they are on the bench between plays. Nick Foles, I believe, a free agent now. I don't believe he's with Chicago anymore.
He got cut by Chicago.
What about the idea of signing Nick Foles? Non-starter for you?
It's a non-starter, and here's why. They are doing everything they can for Kirk. Like, this is again a year where they're doing it. Kirk obviously likes the presence of Mannion. Mannion does exactly what that person said Foles could do. So, like, Mannion can help him on the bench. Like, that's all he can do. He can't really play. So, do I agree with that totally and think, oh, that's a great idea to have Mannion be that guy? No, I personally don't. But realistically, this is the path that they have chosen to go down, the Kirk path. They have fully embraced it. Seriously, they signed an extension. Kirk's going to get every opportunity. And so I am in no way, shape, or form belittling the idea of Foles. I'm just saying it's not what they're going to do. No way.
I wouldn't hate it if he continues to be unsigned, you bring him in as a potential backup. But also, I think I like more the idea of giving Kellen Mond his fair shake. I mean, he was held hostage last year.
Yeah.
For lack of a better word. So I'd rather them just roll with Kellen Mond and see if he can develop and be that QB2. And if you can't handle that, seriously, dude.
Oh, he can handle that. I think that's fine. I think Mond as QB2 with a package of plays, I think he could get through that.
Next section of feedback here on the fear-based culture comment. You and Chipper were talking about this, but Judd, this section of Purple Daily reads the comments. It's sponsored by our new coffee sponsor that you are so lovingly drinking every morning and every day and every night because you love your coffee year-round, day-round.
I bring you this. Folly Coffee. That's exactly right. And as Dex just said, welcome aboard. Folly Coffee Roasters, a local company with a very simple mission of providing you the best coffee available. Rob and Jeff run the place. Jeff is the head roaster and a top 15 coffee taster in the United States of America, named the best Minnesota online coffee retailer by Corporate Vision magazine. Fully customizable coffee subscription to match how much coffee you drink and your favorite flavors. And I'm going to tell you right now, this coffee, incredibly smooth. It's really, really good. Go to follycoffee.com. That's, as you can see on my cup, FOLLY.com. Use the code word SCORE at checkout for 10% off your first order. Again, follycoffee.com, code word SCORE. I'm telling you, I drink a ton of coffee, and this coffee is fantastic. Folly Coffee.
Monkey Demand 84 says, I feel like this whole Zimmer culture of fear has too much emphasis this offseason. I feel like it's being leaned on way too much by the team. I also feel like it should be moved on because we heard this culture of fear basically the same week Zimmer was fired, and to still be hearing about it right now, to me, it's concerning. Like they are relying on it as an issue. What do you think about Monkey Demand's comment there?
Oh, that's monkey to man. That is really deep and it's interesting. And look, you're on to something. I didn't like the fact that Eric Kendricks basically was a team guy. And look, he's a very smart guy and he does a lot of good, but he was Mr. Team Guy. And then Zimmer gets fired. And the day he's fired, it's like, a fear-based culture is not the way to go. That rubbed me the wrong way because fear-based culture should be called out at any time. It's not, that's not like, well, he was a little bit gruff. That is fear-based culture. And it's like you were totally on board with Mike and now Mike's gone and you were like, he was the problem. So in that sense, I love the response of, they're like really leaning into this. All of that being said, I could tell you right now from, as we talked about with Phil a couple days ago, from being out there, Declan, the breath of fresh air is enormous. So I do think it's going to help. And I do think that this team is going to be able to breathe more. But yeah, I know exactly what you're saying. And I do think you have to be very careful because so where I agree with that comment completely is in the sense of, I feel like we're using Zimmer as the complete fall guy. Like he was the entire problem. He was a problem. They had other problems, which is why I would have probably cleaned out the locker room a little bit more. They did not. So somewhere in between with that comment, I'm totally on board because I don't like this. Everything was Mike's fault. And I feel like there's a lot of people, including inside TCO, that have decided that the boogeyman was Mike and Mike alone and maybe a little bit of Rick.
There's something about to go into a relationship talk. Like if you had a bad ex-girlfriend or whatever, you got your heart broken by a boy or girl, whatever, but then you're still in your next relationship or you're still in the aspect of life, clinging on to that person being a terrible person in your life. Well, that person still has a control of you too. And I just don't want the Vikings players then to have that same type of control that Zimmer is now gone and that theory is still then lingering in the back of your head. It's like, just move on, man. You got to move on from it. It was a chapter of your life. Yes, did it end abruptly and maybe not something in a way that you wanted to go, for sure, but move on from it. It's not going to do you any good just harping on the past and the what if comment of it.
I think they're trying a little bit too. I do think that they're trying a little bit, but yeah, I don't want them to think everything's solved. And I think O'Connell is smart enough to know that that's not the case.
Benjamin says people are too relaxed and coaches who are buddy-buddy with players could be an overcorrection. It's like teachers desperate to seem cool to their students instead of focusing on their learning. Time will tell, but rest assured, somebody needs to be fierce and someone needs to lead. I think he's mostly, talking about the diplomatic approach here. Yes, the culture and everything's good and open. Kwesi, kind of also deliberating task to everyone. KOC kind of it being an open, fun little area. At the end of the day, to Benjamin's point here, someone has to lead. Someone has to make those tougher decisions. You can diplomat, decision making is all you want, but at the end of the day, someone's got to be a boss, right? Someone's got to make a tough decision, and that is, I think, something that I'm curious to see how Kwesi and KOC learn throughout that process in their first years doing this.
Yeah, and I don't know that they know that. Like they're new. And that's what I'm very curious about. So the players right now can clearly breathe, right? They're being empowered more, which in some ways is really, really good. The question is who's going to take advantage of that? Because there's going to be guys that definitely thrive, which will be fun to watch. There also always is, especially on a team, which right now is 90 guys on it. There's always guys who take advantage, right? And so I think what we're really going to find out is what type of leadership Kwesi Adofo-Mensah and Kevin O'Connell provide when the going gets tough, when they lose games, when guys get arrested, which is going to happen. Things like that will happen. So, and that's when they're going to have to crack down. Because right now, they've not lost a game. It's very easy to run a football team when you are 0-0. It's months away until you kick off and no one's done something wrong, right? So like at some point in time, there's going to have to be some tough love. There's going to have to be examples made. And among the things, Declan, that I am extremely curious to see from the 2022 Vikings is what happens when that time comes, because it's not always going to be peaches and cream. And I mean, that's this league and this team especially lend itself to things getting difficult at times.
One more thought on this from Albert, who says, Kevin O'Connell tells you what you want to hear, much like a used car salesman. So, Albert, not not really buying what KOC is saying. So I don't get used car salesman vibes from KOC.
I agree.
Those are some terrible. I don't get those vibes from him just selling you garbage. Yet you do have to sometimes look at and you really only learn this when you're really watching or you're inundated with the team. You're at press conferences. You decipher what's just coach speak, and you also have to figure out. Sometimes it might not seem as black and white to a fan or a common person, but wait a minute, I heard something there said in a unique way that maybe you didn't catch, right? Like, that's the fun part about trying to cipher through those comments. So I wouldn't call him a used car salesman, Albert, but there are some things you do got to pick apart and some things you just kind of got to throw away as coach speak.
PJ Fleck is far more of a used car salesman than KOC is.
I agree with that.
O'Connell has coach speak for sure, and he doesn't say a ton, but I don't think there's a shtick to it. I just think that I think that Kevin O'Connell is clearly a disciple of Sean McVay, which is no surprise. And I also think that he is part and parcel of the new football coach in the National Football League in 2022, right? Like, that's how I take it. But yeah, if we were to do football coaches as used car salesmen, PJ Fleck is like an 8 or 9 on a scale of 1 to 10. O'Connell's like more of a 3. I don't think he's full of crap. I just think that I think he watches guys like Shanahan and McVay and goes from there.
There is no coach speak with our friends at Underdog Fantasy, I can tell you that much. Underdog Fantasy is the best way to get a sweat on game. Let me tell you about my sweats I've been getting on with my friends at Underdog Fantasy, Judd. I put some bets on the Warriors game the other day. I also have the PGA Championship going on. Old Dex Tweets is on what they say a heater in this realm of Underdog
Dex
Fantasy.
Tweets. Yes.
So if I can do it, if I can figure out how to get some good stuff in with my lineups, if I can make the right pick'ems, you can too. Judd can make the right pick'ems. I'm trying to get Judd to get on this heater with me for a little bit. So
yeah, I got some advice today. PGA Championship from Dex. He's like, do this, and guess what I did? Sports Dad. He listened. He did it immediately. But this is fun stuff, man. This is great.
If you join with promo code SCORE, they'll match your first deposit up to $100 too. And we've had some Purple Daily listeners already say that they're into it and they love it. So Underdog Fantasy, they're a great new sponsor with us at SCORE. And yeah, the fantasy football season, they never sleep. And the best part, so I stopped doing traditional fantasy football, Judd. But what I'm excited to get back into it with Underdog is that they set the lineup for you. You draft the players. You don't have to worry about bye weeks. You don't have to worry about waiver pickups. You just draft your players. They'll set your best potential lineup for you. I love that. I don't like the maintenance of a fantasy football schedule. Some people do.
We're not. No, I'm with you. I'm totally with you. I quit a long time ago because I got sick of it's Sunday morning. Did I do my thing yet? Right. With this, you don't have to. And plus, here's the last thing that I love. As a Minnesota sports fan, we are so often robbed of playoff fun, right?
Yeah.
Like the sweat on playoff games. The Wild's in a game, right? But the Wild goes out first round. The Wolves go out first round. So how do you get the local sweat? You have to do it Underdog. So now you're watching games and you're invested. And that's the one thing I love. I love being invested in games. Underdog allows you to be invested in games.
Also, a shout out to the Meadows at Mystic Lake, an award-winning 18-hole public golf course conveniently located in Prior Lake, just down the metro from the Twin Cities. It offers a unique and challenging and scenic golf experience, one of the nicest places you can play in all of Minnesota. And what I really love, too, Judd, I went down there a few weeks ago, is the Meadows Bar and Grill. So you can, maybe pour a nice little surly and enjoy some golf and enjoy the scenic avenues of the Meadows at Mystic Lake. Go check them out, golfthemeadows.com to learn more. Again, golfthemeadows.com. to learn more.
Awesome.
And yeah, I think I'd hit up a surly. I'd grab a surly when I would be out there.
Oh, you want me to throw surly in? Or we're going hat trick here.
We're going hat trick.
Let me tell you right now, Surly Brewing. It's Saturday. It's Saturday. You're watching us, and I appreciate that. Perhaps I'm on your big screen. If I am, hello, what's going on? The big Judhead is here. And you know what Judd's going to tell you right now? It's Saturday. Go to that fridge. In fact, you know what? I'll wait for a second. All right, as you get near the fridge, I'll speak up louder. Open it up. Pull out a Surly. If it's Zolgad, it would be a Furious. But, perhaps you like the drips and drops. Perhaps, as Declan talks about, you like the Supreme. Whatever it is, get that beer from your fridge right now. Get back to your couch and watch the rest of this show because you can't go wrong if you do it with a Surly. And while you're drinking that, sipping that, take out your phone, take a shot of your can, take a shot of your glass, and show us your cans. That's right. At Jay's All Get at Dex Tweets, we always want to see what you're sipping on, provided it's a Surly.
Of course. A couple more questions here on comments from YouTube. Mr. Huskies. I have to read any comment that starts with Mr. Huskies, obviously.
Of course you do, Mr. St. Cloud.
He says, I think the Vikings and Packers will be at 10 wins apiece going into the last week of the season. Vikings at Soldier Field, Packers versus the Lions. One wins, the other loses, and gets the division. It might go to divisional record, but I think the Packers will have more divisional wins, and I believe the Vikings will split with the Lions, and the Packers will sweep the Bears. So an interesting scenario here. Potentially the division in play. Last week of the regular season. I wouldn't rule that out by any means. I think Mr. Huskies is onto something here.
You take it, right?
Yes, 100%.
In a heartbeat. I think that we're in lockstep, Declan. Phil's not, but I think that we both agree we are not going to denigrate the Packers until they prove that they can't do it. Because, I mean, I seriously sat here last year and I'm like, oh, they're going to fall apart. Rodgers is unhappy. They're not that good. Blah, 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 blah. You know, hot take Zolgad. I'm so smart. I'm so smart. I know what I'm talking about. Packers won 13 games. Third consecutive season, right? So I'm with you. I am not making any prediction about the Packers' demise until we actually see it take place. That being said, what Mr. Husky just provided, I think you would take in a heartbeat. In a heartbeat. Because if you close the gap that much, that's pretty damn good, right?
Right.
And it also means that Kirk's had a pretty nice year. So, again, too, shout out to every one of you who looks at things realistically. That doesn't mean you can't be hopeful, but like that scenario is probably far more plausible than the Vikings are going to win 13 games.
Exactly. All right, last one here. Judd, did you see what Luke Kuechly had to say about the Vikings secondary? Did you see this clip? I don't have the clip ready for me, but I did see it. I did see it, yeah. He said the Vikings had the Vikings secondary as the best in football this year. In fact, if I think of anything on the Vikings defense that I have the most questions about, it is their secondary. I think it's improved because it just has to basically go up for it being so detrimental the last few years.
Sure.
But what do you think Luke Kuechly was thinking there when he said the Vikings are the best secondary in football?
I have no idea. My only guess is he doesn't watch the league that much, and someone told him it's good. I don't know. It makes no sense. Like, do I think it's a disaster? No. Do I think it's wait and see? Absolutely. Are there concerns? Yes. Patrick Peterson's not young. I think he had a nice year, but he's not young. And guys, when cornerbacks go off the cliff, it can be ugly, right? Dantzler, I think, could be good, but I'm not sure. I'm not, in no way am I going to write him off, but I'm also not going to say, oh, he's going to be back in a Pro Bowl player. The safeties I like, but to call it the best, I mean, Shandon Sullivan, the guy that got from the Packers to be the nickel corner, is definitely going to be an upgrade, but is he great? No. So, yeah, Luke, I have no clue, but I would suggest that you do a little bit more homework next time you make a hot take. That's why I like to confine my hot takes ordinarily to the teams I watch the most.
Absolutely. All right, man. That's comments from YouTube. Vikings vent line rolling tomorrow with a couple Vikings fans. I'm excited to talk to them as well.
Yeah, big questions.
Big questions.
You got big questions.
That's all I ask. That's all I do.
Questions. The important, you're the Walter Cronkite of the Purple Daily family. And don't forget, Phil Mackey rejoins us. He's back on Monday. Talk to you.